This is Movie Madness, and we are
the Movie Maniacs.
Hi, welcome to our movie podcast. I'm Alexander, this is
Jamie,
and this is
Nicole.
And we're going to be doing a movie podcast. But before that, we need to explain why we're here. We're here, Peace on Demand in Corrymeela. And we've been, the aim of this project is that bring, in our case, 2 schools to do different activities and stuff like this podcast. And we went around workshops, one of them was, we were planning for it and doing the tech behind all of this. And another one was actually deciding stereotypes and other things and stuff like that. But now onto our actual podcast. So what's your opinion, movies and stuff? What do you like?
I like the school rock because there's a nice type of theme and music, and the children that are in it, they play the instruments as well.
Does the music sort of change the flow of it, making it
It makes you want to watch a bit more of it.
Yeah.
Because music and things are, some people mightn't like them, but
yeah,
some people do like music.
Well, it's all opinion.
Yes.
I think that it would probably impact the flow, having music after music. What sort of music is in it?
Well, there's a couple of, there's rock songs in it and things.
Okay. Anything in particular you know about?
Not really.
Well, it sounds good. I might watch it actually later. And what sort of movie do you like?
Any Tim Burton movie, honestly. I think he's, in my personal opinion, one of the greatest directors of all time for his cinematic style and his art style as well, because he was an art director in The Nightmare Before Christmas and in Coraline, which are 2 of my favourite movies.
What sort of art style does he have for it?
It gives you this rather unsettling feeling when you first see it. It's not exactly normal. It's sort of etched out, if you know what I mean by it. It looks rather unsettling when you first look at it. And for example of that is the other mother out of Coraline, where she's this humanoid figure at the start, but then she turns into this giant kind of nasty spider.
Well, yeah, actually
towards the end.
For that art, I can imagine that they would have some imagery going along, how maybe the mother start off with it seems all nice and stuff, but then shows her actual stuff, and I see her actually growing into a monster. I feel that would actually be really cool, honestly. Is there any others?
Horror movies as well is a big thing with me. I love horror movies just like that. It's not the fact that there's this huge jump scare. It's the unsettling feeling throughout the whole thing, where you're kind of on the edge of your seat and you want to know more.
So that's they're walking down a corridor and then something jumps out.
Yeah.
And more
it's you have this whole thing, especially when it's quiet, and for example if they're walking through a forest, it's this kind of unsettling
isn't
edge.
This one where instead of when they walk down the corridor, instead of that something jumping out and actually release the tension, it just nothing happens.
It just builds up and
keeps
builds
building up until something actually does happen, and that I feel that would be good. Is there anything else?
And fantasy movies as well, because you can turn any small idea. I'm going to use J.K. Rowling as an example, because she's massive. She was in a coffee shop in Scotland and wrote down these small little notes on a napkin, and now she's made billions off it. Well, she was a billionaire until she donated most of her money to charity.
Well, actually, a lot of creative stuff is kind of a quick epiphany, oh, I just thought of something really cool, and if you don't have something written down, you'll probably forget it. Dreams quite often are quite like that. But then you remember the controversy with J.K. Rowling.
She's changed so many of her characters to fit with the current times. For example, Dumbledore, she changed him to be part of the LGBTQ plus community to sort of fit in with what's becoming relevant now.
And then the movies I kind of is that drama sort of movies, anything that can get you sort of invested in the characters, and then once we get to know the characters and all that stuff, it throws them into some weird thing oh no, someone's going to die or something, and then they have to see how the characters react, and makes them more human. And I feel if I can connect with the character in that sort of way, it actually is.
You get more invested in the
much
story.
More invested in it.
Yeah.
And then another one's more indie films, because a lot of the main people who make the films, they make it all pretty much the same, have the same sort of order, have sort of same pacing and all that sort of stuff. But then indie movies to actually get as popular as some actual ordinary films made by the big studios, they would have to go from such a strange angle that it actually becomes popular. And I think that sort of thing kind of entices me quite a bit, which I quite like. And so, like, is there any stereotypes you think should be?
Why do boys cry why do boys not cry?
Like, what do you think about that?
I think it's not true, because boys can cry if they have to
Yeah.
during a movie.
Why do you think people think that they don't cry? They shouldn't cry or whatever?
Because they think they're tough or something.
Yeah, probably like, quite a while ago, the men would be like categorized as like the big, strong one, the provider, like all that stuff. And now that society norms have been a bit more lenient.
Yeah.
It's been much more open to the idea of that sort of stuff, and I think it's much more open, and that's why the stereotype probably stuck around from back then, and it's helped open up to much more like to that sort of stuff. And like anything new?
That girls don't watch superhero movies. Like me personally, I'm a huge superhero movie like fan. I love them so much, to the point where I sat crying for 20 minutes when we went to go see Avengers Endgame. Throughout the whole like last 20 minutes of the movie, I was sitting like bawling my eyes out because I got so emotionally invested with like all the characters, and like I found some of them so relatable in like such a way. For example, not like Tony Stark, who has like billionaire and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But like Spider-Man, like this just normal teenage kid, freak accident happened, and now you can climb up walls, and like he's super intelligent. Like he's still a teenager and he still has to cope with that stuff. And the fact is that boys have like such this thing where they're like, oh, girls are meant to wear pink, or they're meant to wear like lighter colors. But then there's like me, for example, I've got like black and white on and a bit of red.
Yeah. Well, going back to that in a second, tying back to how boys don't cry, I saw one of my friends, my friend next to me, like nearly like about to be in tears, and that's like that also that ties back to what you were saying. And then what's it called? I forgot your name, but like I understand why people wouldn't think that the stereotype that girls don't watch superhero films, because the comics for the superhero films, they were actually for the war, and to give the people like in the war, all the soldiers, someone to like think of themselves as like a superhero, to do more courageous acts to help their people and stuff like that. And I think again that also carried through time, and it's become not as much of a stigma, but I think it still is there. And what I think there was like an LGBT a girl power thing in it, wasn't
Oh yeah, in Endgame there was like a big scene where they got like all like the sort of major like female Avengers to come together and like save Peter Parker while he like, was it Peter Parker? I think it was.
Yeah.
Like to get the like Infinity Gauntlet and like pass it around. It was like a big game of tag, or like, oh, I forgot the name of it. It was like a big game of like pass parcel. That's the one I was looking for. And like they all kind of came together, but it felt so forced.
Yeah.
In a sense, to the fact that it didn't flow naturally. And if it didn't flow naturally, in my opinion, it shouldn't have really been there.
Yeah. Well, I think it could have been more like, it could have been put in much easier into it, and if they did a better job, that would have been much better. But I think it's still good that they did it.
It's definitely like a good thing for them to do. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time we have today. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and leave a comment down below on what one of your favourite movies of all time is. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.